أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are on the eve of the 17th of Ramadan, and 1442 years ago on this day, an epic battle took place, the monumental battle of Badr. The first major battle in Islam and a turning point in the history of the Ummah, a distinguishing day in the legacy of Islam, a day mentioned by name in the Quran as Al-Furqaan, Yawm al-Taqal Jama'an, a day of criterion, the day on which the two armies met. And as we take durus amiqa min as-sirat an-nabawiyyah, profound lessons from the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we realize that the Battle of Badr provides complex lessons on many levels: social, political, spiritual, military, tactical, and at a humanitarian level. And therefore, of course, there are numerous lessons we can learn from the legacy of the Battle of Badr. Suffice it for us to reflect upon three of those. Remember, the Prophet ﷺ and his family and his companions had hardly migrated from Mecca to Medina. They were a few months in Medina. And the Meccan army of approximately 1,000 well-armed army, seasoned fighters, came to attack the Muslims in Medina. And that is when the Battle of Badr took place. Muslims in defense of their faith, after having been persecuted and come to Medina. Some were still in Abyssinia. And it was the first time that Muslims were given permission to take up arms. Up till this time, there were numerous ayat, even on jihad, but not related to qital, not related to fighting. And then a verse was revealed about taking up arms. أُذِنَ لِلَّذِينَ يُقَاتَلُونَ بِأَنَّهُمْ ظُلِمُوا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى نَصْرِهِمْ لَقَدِيرٌ الَّذِينَ أُخْرِجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ إِلَّا أَن يَقُولُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ. Permission to fight is now given to you who are fighting against those who are attacking them, because those who are being attacked, the believers, have been wronged, and surely Allah is able to give victory to the believers. The lesson we get from this first part about the udhina lil ladina, about the permission for battle: Muslims were peaceful, did not take up arms, but after 13 years in Mecca, under Qurayshi persecution, ostracization, victimization, exclusion, oppression, property confiscation, and even attempted character assassination and assassination of the Prophet ﷺ, and now there was a declaration of war. And therefore, the Muslims had to defend their faith. So the first battle that took place was a defensive battle, not one of attacking, and Allah gave permission for Muslims to take up arms for the first time. A second lesson we learn: in any leadership situation, whether in business, whether in institutions, whether on the battlefield, whether in a company, whether in a school, in any leadership situation, we find the leader, the followership, and the situation. Just having a good leader, depending what the leader is leading, and depending who is leading, and depending the circumstances. You may have an excellent imam, but doesn't mean he'll make a good manager. You may have a great manager, doesn't mean he'll make a great imam or a principal for that matter. So depending on the condition, so leadership depends on leader, the followership, and the situation which is being led or that requires leading. And for leadership to be effective, the right leader for the particular situation with dedicated people leads to success. Now, Muslims here were now fighting a well-trained army. By the way, don't forget, these were migrants who came from Mecca to Medina. Some of them left the property. Some of their families were still over there. So they came with nothing. They came here trying to establish themselves. They were like refugees in this place here now. And now there's an army attacking them, and a well-trained army of 1,000 people. And it's very easy to lose heart in such a situation. And one of the companions, the great companion, radiallahu anhu, Miqdad bin Amr Bahrani, originally from Hadramaut in Yemen, he assured the Prophet. قام مقداد بن عمرو فقال يا رسول الله امضي لما أراك الله فنحن معك. Do what Allah has commanded you. Proceed. We are with you. والله لا نقول لك كما قالت بنو إسرائيل لموسى اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنا هاهنا قاعدون. We will not say to you what the followers of Moses said to him, you and your Lord go and fight, we shall be watching and sitting in our seats. But we say to you, ولكن نقول اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا. We say to you, you and your Lord go and fight, فنحن معكم مقاتلون. And we shall be fighting with you together. نحن معكم ما مقاتلون. Nothing is more empowering. And in a world full of betrayal today, nothing is more empowering than faith and the support of the faithful, especially in the darkest hours of your lives, when things may seem hopeless. The most valuable thing at that time, the most valuable asset in those times of difficulty is to have the assurance of those who are near and dear to you. For if they betray you in that hour, you really feel hopeless. Sometimes you're more disappointed about them not supporting you than the hardship you are facing. And the third lesson among the many lessons. 313 men. Rasul could only muster 313 men. The best he could do. These were the truest heroes of Islam. They overcame 1,000 fighting formidable army, 3 times their size, where the odds were stacked absolutely heavily against them. وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ بِبَدْرٍ وَأَنْتُمْ أَذِلَّةٌ فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Allah says, Allah helped you at Badr when you were an insignificant group of people. No, small in number, in other words. So be conscious of Allah that you may show gratitude. The lesson of Badr, among the many lessons about this situation of 313 against 1,000, is a great example for us from this history that teaches us victory depends not on numbers. كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله. How often have a few seemingly insignificant group of people overcome a mighty force? Allah is with those who patiently persevere. You see the struggle for truth, the struggle for goodness and for justice, which many of our Muslim leaders in the Middle East don't seem to know at all. The struggle for truth, for goodness and justice is always about the quality of people and the goodness that they stand for. The quality of the person leading, the quality of the people, and the quality of what you are standing for. Rather than the amount of people, rather than the amount of believers. Don't forget, at Hunayn, the Muslims for the first time outnumbered the enemies, and the Muslims were running at the beginning of that battle. They almost lost the battle. At Badr, there were few in number. So it's not about numbers. Rather than the amount of believers who fought, it was the quality of people. And quality always triumphs quantity. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Islamic City will continue its mission to cultivate peace, inspire action, explore positive solutions, and encourage purposeful living through the universal teachings of Islam. Please donate now.